Hello everyone, I'm Mastagigafo, and today there's been a bit of change of plans. So originally I thought I was going to review the cards as they were revealed, but then every single card in the expansion was revealed yesterday as of recording. So now I'm going to be reviewing every class's cards based on archetypes. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first class, which is Demon Hunter, which I think has 3 defined archetypes that Madness at the Darkmoon Faire is supporting, and there are some outliers. The first archetype being Soul Demon Hunter. Now this archetype was very dominant in the Scholomance Academy meta, and it's coming back in strides with new lifesteal synergy. And the cards that fit within it are Fellscream Blast, Fellsteel Executioner, Insatiable Fellhound, Relentless Pursuit, Il'gynoth, and Bladed Lady. Now all of these cards focus on your hero's attacks or lifesteal, which is what Soul Demon Hunter is going to evolve around in this expansion. Just because of Il'gynoth's insane burst damage potential. Some of these cards might not be as good as the others, namely Fellscream Blast. Next is the Token Demon Hunter archetype, which got a little bit of synergy this time around in Renowned Performer and Expendable Performers. These 2 cards both center around summoning small minions and support the Token Demon Hunter archetype that was introduced in Ashes of Outland and not really supported that much in Scholomance, but maybe this small injection of new blood into the Token Demon Hunter archetype could see it rise from obscurity and actually be a competitive archetype again. Now, the best one of these cards is Expendable Performers because of the sheer magnitude of tokens that you're summoning, and Renowned Performer is kind of lackluster. Its effect is kind of minor. 4 mana dealing 3 damage isn't that significant, and the stats are kind of weak. And the last archetype is a Hyper Aggro Outcast Demon Hunter, which includes Stilt Stepper, Redeemed Pariah, Line Hopper, Zai the Incredible, and Acrobatics. All of these cards either have a synergy that revolves around Outcast like Redeem Pariah and Linehopper, or they get cards out very quickly and have benefits for playing them on the turn that they're drawn, like Acrobatics and Stilt Stepper. These cards might contribute to a new age of Tempo Demon Hunter actually being relevant, and it might have some competition with Soul Demon Hunter, but the Outcast lineup right now is kinda lackluster. I don't think that this archetype will be as competitive as Soul Demon Hunter, but it will definitely see play and see experimentation. And then there are 2 outliers, which are probably going to go into some sort of Control Demon Hunter, those being Dreadlord's Bite and Throwglaive. I think Throwglaive is a pretty interesting card because its repeatable effect allows it to get lots of value, but the condition is that the minion has to die, so it's a bit of a workaround, but it could be worth it. And I think it will be worth it for some Control Demon Hunter deck. So all in all, Soul Demon Hunter still seems to be on the top of the Demon Hunter food chain, but there are some up-and-coming archetypes that might see some experimentation here and there. Here we have Druid. A really interesting class this time around, because they have a lot of stuff going on. I came up with 2 potential archetypes and some interesting overlap between them. And the first one would be Token Druid. The cards that fit into the Token Druid archetype are Fair Arborist, Greybough, and Umbral Owl. Fair Arborist is a pretty clear Treant synergy card, because the 3 mana 2/2 draw card isn't that great. And there's Greybough, which works best with multiple minions on the field, so that its Death Rattle can hop between them over and over. And lastly, there's Umbral Owl, which feeds off of multiple spell activations which Token Demon Hunter can do pretty easily with their token generation spells. I think the Token Druid archetype will slot really well with Yogg-Saron, because naturally token decks cast a lot of spells, and Yogg-Saron is the perfect top-end part of that deck to swing games in your favor, perhaps. For the second archetype, we have Big Druid, which is Cenarian Ward and Fizzy Elemental. Now, Fizzy Elemental is the most stat-efficient card to date, with no drawbacks. But at its high cost of 9 mana, it's going to need to be ramped up to, which I think is the next direction for this Big Druid to take, is ramping up, just getting big payoff cards out early. Instead of the Guardian Animals package, maybe Big Druid takes a turn and focuses more on large payoff cards, kind of like Embiggen Druid used to do. And Cenarian Ward is probably just going to fit into that deck because Solar Eclipse exists, but we'll get into that later. And before I get to the last few cards, I want to get into the outlier of this class, which is Moon-Touched Amulet. I just don't think it's good enough to see any experimentation in Druid. Its effect is fairly minor. 4 attack and 6 armor when corrupted isn't really that significant in this meta, especially for Druid, which can't really use attack to its own benefit. So yeah, I think this Moon-Touched Amulet gets left in the dust here. And then lastly, we have the ones that kind of fit in the middle, which are Guess the Weight, Lunar Eclipse, Solar Eclipse, and Kiri, Chosen of Elune. These 4 cards can pretty much fit into any of the archetypes, because they're just all around good cards. Guess the Weight is, most of the time, a 2 mana draw 2 spell. Lunar Eclipse is good for reducing the cost of your spells with some utility built in. Solar Eclipse is just insanely good, especially with Cenarian Ward. And Kiri, Chosen of Elune is just pretty much an auto-included to any Druid. So all in all, Token Druid and Ramp Druid are going to be the 2 major archetypes of Darkmoon Faire. Okay, last but not least for this review is Hunter. Now, Hunter has some really powerful looking cards. A bunch of secret synergy and some big death rattle synergy, which is really cool. And I'll outline those archetypes, starting with the secret synergies, which are Mystery Winner, Open the Cages, Petting Zoo, and Rinling's Rifle. These are all very good cards all around. Mystery Winner is a very solid 1-drop for Secret Hunter because it immediately generates value and guarantees a secret on curve. Open the Cages is good because it lingers, most likely, until the right moment when you're ahead on the board state and you really want an animal companion, because 2 out of the 3 are better when you have an advantage. And Petting Zoo is the highlight here. Petting Zoo is a great card, immediately better than Hyena Alpha in the fact that it's 1 mana less for comparable stats. You're never playing Hyena Alpha again. Guaranteed. And last but not least is Rinling's Rifle. Just a generally all-around good weapon that can even be used outside of Secret Hunters just because of its utility. But in a secret deck, its utility can be maximized. Now let's talk about the big Death Rattle Hunter. This is the one I'm most excited about, not really because it's going to be that good, but because it's going to be really fun and kind of memey. And first we have Maxima Blastenheimer. This is kind of reminiscent of Flark's Boomzooka from Boomsday. In this day and age, it works leagues better than that, because 1, it goes face, and 2, it activates much better death rattles than were available in Boomsday. And case in point, Darkmoon Tonk, which is a great death rattle to have, and it's a mech, which synergizes with some death rattle mech synergies that were seen in Rise of Shadows. And lastly, the powerhouse, the top end of the curve for this deck is Jewel of N'Zoth. Does what the old N'Zoth did back in the day and summons random death rattle minions that died. So this deck has clear goals. It has a clear through line to victory. It just is kind of slow and lackluster because aggro in this meta is going to be pretty dominant. At least I predict it will. So those 3 cards go into the big mech Death Rattle Hunter kind of archetype. And the last few cards kind of go into an other category because they're not very good. And those are Dancing Cobra, Don't Feed the Animals, and Trampling Rhino. Now, Trampling Rhino isn't actually as bad as Don't Feed the Animals and Dancing Cobra. It still doesn't fit into any of the other archetypes, merely because it has no synergies with them. So I'm just lumping Trampling Rhino in with the other 2. Now, Dancing Cobra is not good because it's too slow. A 1/5 with Poisonous is not worth it. The Hunter Corrupt deck will not become a thing, and it's mainly because of this card. And the next one, Don't Feed the Animals, which is absolutely abysmal, and just looking at the card text should make you see why. Giving beasts in your hand +2/+2 after corruption is not a good effect. With that out of the way, all in all, Secret Hunter will be amazing, and like even considering past synergies, this is bound to be a fantastic choice. Big Death Rattle Hunter will also be there. Just kinda having fun. And that is going to wrap it up for Demon Hunter, Druid, and Hunter class reviews. I haven't asked for subscriptions yet, and maybe that'll help my channel grow. So yeah, consider subscribing if you like what you see. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.